All right, episode 79. Today we're going to talk about how to use YouTube in your real estate business. And we have real estate YouTube expert Kristina Smallhorn on. She's going to share her tips and strategies how to build out your YouTube channel. We're going to get started right now.
Welcome to the only real estate podcast worth listening to with your hosts Nick Good, Matt Kelderman, and Brian Force. Combined, they have 26 years of experience and have sold over 1,500 homes. Join them each week as they bring you everything you need to know about real estate. And now, here are your hosts, Nick, Matt, and Brian.
All right. Are we unmuted?
Yeah.
The fade out sounded amazing.
It did. I just let it roll that time, bro. I'm really finding my stride here.
I love it.
I will tell you, to preface, though, now that you've given me that compliment, I might not say anything this entire episode because this is the first time I've been on the ones and twos that we've had a guest on. So I am petrified right now that something's going to go wrong.
Yes. So episode 79. This one is going to be an offline here. I mean, the conversations are...
Yeah.
It's online but offline.
Online, offline.
Yeah.
It's that good online, offline thing
Yeah.
we like to do.
Yeah, AFK. We have Kristina Smallhorn on. And look, I've watched her for a long time, just how she's built out her YouTube channel, her business from it. And it's grown into, over 44, almost 45,000 subscribers.
Awesome.
Yes. And she was talking about there's two ways that you can do YouTube. I thought there was just one way. So there's two ways you can do YouTube. But before we have Kristina join us, if this is your first time watching or listening, please, please, please go over to iTunes, leave us a review, and then join.
Even if it's not your first time, what if you're just one of those knuckleheads that's been listening forever and not giving us a review?
Because look, I'm tired.
Change
of asking.
your ways.
They should have already been there.
Honestly, I
I'm
guess
tired
you're
of
right.
it. I'm really tired of it. So if you're brand new, just go over there. Please leave us a review, 5 stars only. And go over to our Facebook group, the only real estate group worth being a part of. We've got over 4,500 members in there, and that's growing. A lot of great information being shared in there. I think I need to share that one about a trap house.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorites.
I'm going to tell you, I had no idea what that was. I had to.
Did you have to Google Trap House?
No, I had to call some of my team members.
Because you're going to be on a list now or something.
Yeah, I did not Google that, but I had a Zillow request that for one of our listings that they could turn it into a trap house, which I still don't really know what that means.
It would have been super awesome if you did a whole bunch of researches on crime statistics and then giving them a very articulate, very real estatey response about let me tell you about the demographics of trap houses, this particular, and they just blew them away and they're like, oh my God, thank you so much.
Kristina, could this be a good YouTube video topic?
That would be. I was just thinking, oh my God, we should really script this out because that would be so funny.
Let's look at
but
that.
you would if you started something like that and it blew up, you have to continue it because then it just dies on the vine.
100%.
If you start something like that, you better come up with all sorts of different kinds of houses. You're gonna have the techno house. You're gonna have the crackhead house. You're gonna have the vacant. You're gonna have all sorts of different kinds of houses.
The best thing about this conversation is that nobody needed to explain Trap House to Kristina Smallhorn. She immediately knew exactly what goes down at the Trap House.
Yeah. Look, I may be the only one on this conversation that still doesn't know what it means. So, and look, if you're wanting to sell trap houses like the Good Home Team or her group, right? 10 of them every single month. Go to our webinar, Take 10 Plus Listings. So you're going to go over to Tour Academy /Take 10, TEN. Sign up for the Take 10 webinar, and you'll look. It's going to have all the tips and tricks on how you can get all those awesome leads on trap houses, right? And then it'll prompt you to sign up for Tour Academy for $1. And look, last night's mastermind call, dude. We didn't even get to cover every topic.
We didn't, man. And
Yeah.
I was digitally scribbling notes like a maniac.
Really, really good. So great call last night. So you want to be a part of that. That's the twice a month mastermind call that's part of Tour Academy. So Kristina, welcome. That long intro, but welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. One of the things I love to do more than anything is talk about YouTube.
So now that
I love YouTube.
Now
it's
that
so
we've
great.
uncovered
It's
that
free,
you're a
free,
part-time
free.
drug mule, what else do you do? Give us the bio that we haven't already uncovered with your knowledge of trap houses.
I don't know what you want from me. I'll just, whatever questions you guys want to throw at me, I will gladly say this.
Yeah.
I do, my main goal for being on this I do have a little ulterior motive, is that I want people to stop purchasing stuff about YouTube, real estate, guru stuff.
Sure.
Don't do it if you like. Don't do it. Stop it. Don't do it. There's a group that is selling like SEO packages and title packages that are supposedly going to make your YouTube channel work with their fancy tags and SEO and titles, because they're the people that know how to do it. It is the biggest hose scam. We get scammed so much as real estate agents, but that to me was like infuriating. So that was I have an ulterior motive. That was it.
Okay,
I'm giving out the juicy secrets because I don't want people to waste their money on that nonsense anymore.
Yeah. Here's the thing. First of all, I love the passion right out of the gate. We actually have somebody who's got a real purpose and directive. Give us your. So I wanted to listen. I could talk about YouTube. I think all three of us could, and a lot of our viewers all day, every day. Give us your background first. Kind of where are you at right now with your YouTube stuff? How did you get into the real estate business? Kind of give us all that general stuff, and then we'll kind of dive into some specific stuff.
Okay. I've been in the business 13 years. I've been selling houses here in a small town outside of Baton Rouge called Ascension Parish. And I was trying to find a different way to kind of advertise. I started doing videos on Facebook, which was fantastic. Like, it was so good. Like, I just put out a video and I would just get thousands of views, and I loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, Facebook video is the way to go. Well, they changed how they did the algorithm. So anything you put on your business page, you had to pay for it. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I'm not paying to get people to watch my goofy videos. That's ridiculous. So I'm like, there has to be a better way. So I started, even though I was putting videos on YouTube, I wasn't really focusing on YouTube. But after that first year, I was like, I'm focusing on YouTube. Forget this, like pay to play stuff on Facebook. And I grew from there. And it really did help my business. But it wasn't until the end of last year, October of last year, I decided to take YouTube more seriously, because I had met with so many people about how you can really make money doing YouTube.
Sure.
I turned my YouTube channel that is still about real estate into a business. And it was probably the best decision I ever made, because at the start of this Corona thing, everybody was in the house panicking, going, what are we going to do? There's going to be the sky's falling. And I'm like sitting back going, I'm still collecting my checks, So I don't know. I like YouTube. I think it's a great way to do it. There's two ways you can do it. You can do it to build a business and real estate, and you can do it afterwards. If you decide you don't want to do real estate anymore, you can turn that channel into another business just talking about real estate. So it's a great win-win platform. I love it.
So what did you, talking about that transition, right? Like, what was it that was effective for you when it was still I'm selling houses in your neighborhood type of real estate page, right? Like, how did it morph? How did it start, and then how did it morph into whatever it is now?
I was doing those like pros and cons, top 10, top 10 neighborhoods you should know about, and the reasons why people won't buy your house. And, and I'll tell you another one that really, people know me for this, but I did this one video on, how to get the smell of dog pee out of your carpet when you're selling. I
saw that video.
Yeah, that's the one I know.
That's the one I know too.
I hated that video, but it brought me a lot of business. People called me all the time. I actually even had, I did another one, how to get that disgusting ring. Here in Ascension Parish, we have this ridiculous water that leaves like a calcium ring in your toilet. And normal toilet bowl cleaners won't get it out, but I found something that did. So I made a video about that. The guy who owns the company called me, and then I sold his house.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I know. So I was like, you never know who you're doing. You just be yourself and answer the problems that happen in your area. Every area has a different condition of problems that normally you wouldn't have.
The thing that I think to take away from that too is like where a lot of agents get so bogged down in all of this is that ultimately at the end of the day, they're making content for a broader audience. And what I hope they take away from you is like, yeah, you've got 45,000 subscribers now, and I'll let you take us through kind of the growth pattern of that. But I think when I found you, your growth has been pretty explosive even in the past 12 to 18 months too, I think, at least from what I remember when I first came into your world. But you don't need to have a ton of people subscribing to you in order to be able to effectively generate leads. You need to solve problems in your local area. And I think that example of the hard water in the toilet ring is like a perfect way of addressing a local problem with a video that brought in people from your area. It's just great.
Yeah, I did another one about our, and it still gets views. I mean, not like blown up views, but I did one about our local movie theater. They opened up a movie theater in our little tiny small town. And normally you would have had to drive into Baton Rouge to watch a movie, which is only 20 minutes, but it was nice to have this brand new convenient movie theater. People still watch that. It was like a vlog with me and my kids trying to, and it was so busy we kept going back. So like in the vlog I'm like, still too busy, still too busy, you know. It's just kind of fun, and that people still watch that. That's ranking on Google for a local
I want to pull up, see, because that's a really, really good point. So I'm going to put it on the screen here, if you don't mind. I know I just didn't ask for your
I don't care. You can do whatever you want.
I'm going to scroll through your YouTube channel. Right? So you have 45,000 subscribers is the first thing to kind of check out here, which is awesome. The other thing, your thumbnails are on point. And look, I mean, guys, and this is where I want to dive into. This is real life proof of what you can do with your YouTube channel. I don't see a single video on here that was like, hey, let's spend 3 weeks thinking about the perfect topic. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times, I really think we spend a lot of time banging our head against the walls about this isn't good enough content. What should I be doing? This, so forth. You know, and we spend a lot of time spitballing and wouldn't it be great if we did this and this? Like, you're just an action taker. And I'm sure it wasn't that way in the beginning where you just like started murdering it right out of the gate, but I'm sure you at least took action right out of the gate.
I did every week. I dedicated myself to it. I was like, I'm going to put I mean, I didn't care. I didn't care if nobody watched it. It was like, if nobody watches it, I can be as goofy as I want to be. If anybody watches my old videos, I mean, I'm wearing wigs. Yeah. I'm like, I just don't care. You know,
this
like
weird thing we have.
And I still do that. And I just try to kind of come up with the ways to talk about real estate that would be interesting, because honestly, and my YouTube coach tells me I have the most boring, we are in the most boring field to have conversations about. Well, it's real estate, you know. It's just dry. It's a very dry topic. 100%. So you got to figure out ways to engage people, to want them to watch and be interested in what you're talking about real estate.
It's this
figure that out.
It's this funny weird thing that we have. Matthew Acquire goes, wigs noted. It's this weird thing that we have where we're like, we get really self-conscious, but we're self-conscious about people not watching, which is funny because if nobody's watching, what do we have to be self-conscious about? Like, when we get so nervous that we're going to do all this work and put all this content out and nobody's going to care, and they're like, well, if they don't care, what the fuck are you self-conscious about? Nobody knows that you just did that, right? Like, you just belly flopped off the diving board and nobody saw it. What do you care about? Like, it's funny. Like, but to get, I guess, more actionable, how did you, in the beginning, and I guess maybe this would be good actionable advice just even now going forward, how do you come up with your topics? How do you decide what you're going to talk about? How do you decide what do you think is getting a lot of views? Like, I think that's where a lot of people want to start on YouTube, is like, what do I say? What do I do?
Right. So I have like an idea in my head that how to plan it out. So I have to make that plan first. So I put out one video week, one.
Yeah.
And I follow that pattern. So if I put out a video every Monday, let's just say the first Monday of the month is going to be about sellers.
Right.
The second Monday of the month is going to be for buyers.
Sure.
The third Monday of the month is going to be for homeowners. And the fourth Monday of the month is going to be about maintenance of your home or DIY projects to increase value, something like that. And I follow that pattern consistently.
Yep.
And then I start coming up with like titles after that. Like, I just write down different ideas and titles. And actually the best place to look for other videos to come up with ideas, look at other people's videos.
Right.
You know? Yeah, but I mean, honestly, that's the best place. And when I first started, there wasn't a lot of people on there. So I used to, do you know who Bill Gassett is? I followed his blog. Like, whatever he was talking about on his blog, I'm like, that's my next video.
Okay, there you go. Yeah.
I just followed what he did. It's on his blog. I did it on a video.
Well, and I think one of the interesting things about that our limiting belief usually ends up falling into is, one, we believe we have to do something like profound that nobody's done before, and two, we also think that we can't take ideas from people in our own market. And I would challenge anybody who believes that. It's like me, Brian, and Nick all sit at the same table and could all make a video about the same thing, put it out to the exact same group of people, and those people are going to respond to each of us completely differently. So I would challenge all these agents who don't do video because they think it's already been done. Christina's done it. She got on YouTube early. Dude, do it. We say this all the time. AK is in our market. right?
Yeah.
The first person's YouTube page I went to see what we should be doing was AK's page, right?
Yeah.
Just to see what he's doing videos on, because his videos are good. He gets leads from it. I know him personally. I know what kind of guy he is. And just go in there and see what he's doing, right? You don't have to reinvent the wheel for this to be effective.
Well, nor should you, right? Like we doing.
And actually, real estate agents are so competitive. They're just like, oh my gosh, he stole my video. I'm like, no. No, what you need to do is call them up and do a video together, and then his video can link to your video that links back to his video, so his audience starts going to see your stuff, and everybody's a big happy family, so you can grow your audience. It's not a competition, it's a collaboration place. That's what YouTube is. The more you collaborate and work with one another and have videos that suggest to one another on everybody else's channel, your channel's going to grow more.
It's such a bananas
but people they can't
thing.
Handle that. They're like, I have to be the best. I don't need anybody's help. You know?
It's just crazy for people to get mad about, because we don't do that in any other form of marketing, right? Like nobody's sitting there like, oh, you're doing yard signs as well? I was doing yard signs. You know what I mean? Like it's the craziest. No. We don't get mad about anything else like that. It's really funny.
So let's break it down. Those two ways to do YouTube, right? What if you're brand new? So you're just starting that channel out. There's probably no right or wrong, but I'm assuming that if you're looking at it to monetize and just make income, that's going to be a lot longer lead up and ramp time versus just generating straight up leads. Would I be correct on that?
Right, but the pattern's still the same. You're still going to have to follow some kind of schedule of content to be released at a certain time, and you follow that pattern month after month. The thing that you would do differently is if you're trying to generate leads for your specific area, you're making a channel for those people, speaking only to those people in your specific area. Yep. If you're trying to do the get lots of views, lots of leads so you can earn income and become monetized, you're going to be looking for the trend where you're looking for more pop culture type stuff, things that would grab a lot of people's attention, not just in your little town. That makes sense.
No, 100%. I was doing the pause for the ads. We don't inform our guests of some of the
Y'all got quiet there for a minute. I was like, oh my gosh, did the mic go out?
I think, so to get more specific on that, right? So we talked a little bit about, choosing topics and all that type of stuff. If I'm really specifically looking just to, now you have, your intentions with YouTube now are multifaceted. But in the beginning, it was more to grow your real estate business. If I'm in that realm right now, what are the top most important tips I need to be using my real estate or my YouTube channel as a lead generation engine for my business? And I already heard one, which it sounds like structure and time management is a huge one. What else
you
do
have
we
to
really need
follow
to
that structure?
Yeah.
That will go miles. And I know this is going to sound totally insane, but that little tiny picture, the little thumbnail picture, really study how to make those correctly, because real estate agents are notorious for making the worst thumbnails I've ever seen on the planet. Yeah. I don't know who started this trend where they basically just took a bright black background, threw their big giant mug on it, and then repeated the title on the side on the thumbnail. Right. Bad. Nobody cares about that. You really have to really spend a lot of time looking at good thumbnails, making them and understanding your market and what people will click on.
What do you recommend as a tool?
It's not like as soon as you start, it's going to be amazing. You're going to blow up. It doesn't happen like that. You're going to have to really study what other people are doing to make a successful thumbnail and title.
Sure. And this is always the problem with remote guests is technology gives us like a 3-second delay, so we talk into each other's heads all the time. What tool do you recommend as far as like creating? What do you use to create thumbnails and things like that? What's a good tool that people can use?
Just PicMonkey. I know a lot of people use Canva because it's free, and yes, Canva is good, but I find that to be extremely limited. Yeah. I want to be able to tweak and add shadows and add outlines and do as many things as I can to make that image pop. I don't like a really flat image, and it shows that most people that do flat images, people don't click on them. So that's why I use something a little bit more robust. I know my friend Malcolm Lawson, who actually does have a really good YouTube real estate lead course, by the way. Okay. He uses Photoshop to make his thumbnails.
But essentially it's super, super simple, right? You're using PicMonkey, Canva, Photoshop, whatever. I think the thumbnails are incredibly important. If you're thinking, I think that's one of the big things that people get wrong is like, if we're talking about expending your mental energy, people put it, in my opinion, the bulk of it in the wrong place, which is, let's think for 10 years about what our video is going to be about and how we're going to make it look incredible and amazing and mind-blowing and whatever. And they should be spending a lot more of their mental energy on, how do I get my ass off the couch and commit to doing 3 hours of YouTube videos a week and just commit that time, and then learning a little bit about my SEO, maybe using TubeBuddy or whatever, but just like, how do I commit myself to getting over my mental obstacles and just getting content out consistently, right? We spend a lot of time being like, I'm judging myself, my content's no good, my video topics suck. Like, you're kind of laying out right now, somebody who's got 45,000 subscribers on a real estate channel, hey, I kind of make my list from watching other people's stuff, and it gives me ideas. I use PicMonkey, and I just do this shit every week. Like,
yeah, I will say one thing too, because there is a lot of focus that people have in their brains, especially if they come from the blogging world. And I was one to say this often, and it was like, you had to find these magical SEO keywords in the description in order for your video to have this magical like ranking, and you're going to have to use keywords everywhere, and you're going to have to check it over here in vidIQ. I would spend a whole entire day trying to find the perfect SEO for my YouTube channel, like ridiculous amounts of time. And guess what? My channel, like, it did okay. Sure. You know, it was okay. And I focused way too much energy on that. If I had spent more time on making really engaging thumbnails and titles, I would have been much better off than I was. A lot better.
Well,
so don't get hung up on that. Right? That's another thing that people are like, well, where are you getting your SEO research from? I'm like, oh God, I'm not even doing that. I don't even waste my time on that anymore. It's ridiculous.
So you're not, I mean, as far as actually how to like tag your videos and write your descriptions and stuff, you don't put nearly as much effort into that?
I literally spent whatever they recommend at the bottom. I just click it.
That is such a hot take. I did not know. I didn't think of it. So you're saying thumbnails are way more important?
Yeah, thumbnails and title and your content itself is. Even YouTube themselves, literally 2 years ago, came out and said, "Stop wasting time on your tags." They're literally, if you took the list of stuff that we provide, they said that is the actual least thing we look at. That is the very bottom of the list. Is the tags.
That is bananas.
You're doing it wrong the whole time.
You're doing it wrong. Dude, you and me both, man. Like, I honestly thought that was like the biggest part of it.
That's what I thought too, because all these gurus said this is what we needed to do to get our videos found. But they're just trying to sell you something. So then when it doesn't work for you, well, it's not their fault. You didn't do the research right. Give me a break. It's a hose. Total hose.
Well, so they could sell us the TubeBuddy affiliate link.
Yeah, or they got to
sell. But you know, TubeBuddy does work. You know, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. It gives me the right kinds of tags to throw in there so I can see where I'm ranking. And you know, what your tags really should be is like, you know, common misspellings of your name. Like my name's Kristina, so I don't spell it with a CH. I spell it with a K. So I'd put that in there. Whatever I would think would be relevant to the video itself. So like I just did this one was just like a real estate agent reacts. Well, I noticed that other people put realtor reacts. So I put like realtor reacts, real estate agent reacts, sunset, selling sunset. Yeah. You know, like I just put all these tags that I know that would relate to that particular video, but I'm not spending hours trying to find the magic keyword that's going to make this video blow up.
So keywords have merit, but they're more just from the hip. Just trust your gut and go with what YouTube is already suggesting.
Right, exactly. I actually, in my system of doing videos, which I just learned how to do, and since I've turned it around and I've been doing it this way, my channel blew up, was I do the thumbnail and the title first before I even film the video. So that way it's done. And then when I film it, believe it or not, you end up saying those keywords that you put in the title and on the thumbnail. You end up saying them because you already have it in your head because you worked on it for you spent so much time finding the right kind of title for your video, and then because you said them and it's reiterating the title from your actual speech. That's your SEO right there.
I'm
YouTube
noticing,
reads your words.
I'm noticing what
your
you're
SEO.
saying too is like all of this is just planning, and I even just wrote that down. Like you doing the thumbnail and the title first, even just falls into this little pocket of like. What my big hang up is with YouTube is that I just don't know what to do next, right? Like having some sort of format, you literally planning out, I even wrote down week 1 seller, week 2 buyer, week 3 homeowner, week 4 DIY project. And then you come up with the thumbnail and the title before this. It eliminates all these bullshit excuses we give ourselves because that is the content. I now know that week 1, I have to do a seller video. I'm going to come up with the title and the thumbnail beforehand. The video is done at that point. I just now do the video.
Like
it's based on whatever that was.
Honestly, that's probably the first thing we're going to do right after this. I'm going to make you send me a calendar in. We're going to figure it out, right? Yeah. We're going to put what we're going to do, Matt and I'm just telling you the actionable advice we're going to take right now. We're going to set a calendar invite for a meeting for probably Thursday or Friday of this week, and that whole meeting is just going to be setting other meetings with the actual description of the video that we're going to be shooting that day already in there. Because let me tell you what happens with Matt and I. This is one of the reasons that we're terrible with YouTube is that we'll go shoot a video and it'll be great. And then we'll get busy for the next 6 months and blow off every YouTube thing on our calendar. And the reason is, and I think this is what we're uncovering now, is that it's because all it does is on our calendar, it says shoot YouTube video. And then in my mind, when that comes up and I'm already having a day, or I just don't feel like it, I'm going, you shoot YouTube video, and my mind says, come up with concept, get all your shit together, figure it all out, spend 2 hours on TubeBuddy trying to figure out the best keywords afterwards. Like, it just seems like such an endeavor for us. One, you've already opened my mind to maybe not spending so much time on tags and keywords, right? And the other is, if we spent one meeting coming up with what our YouTube videos were going to be for the next 6 months or however long, right? And made the thumbnails for them, which doesn't take a very long amount of time. And then we could even put those as fucking drafts in YouTube. Then the calendar invite becomes shoot video about what $300,000 in McKinney can buy you. Boom, go. Right? I feel like that. It's little things like that that can make a huge difference in your ability to actually take action.
I am excited to see this thumbnail for your 13-hour drive thing that pissed you off because I did see you post in your YouTube page if you use the thumbnail that you were testing out in the group.
So yeah, it's you see me with a big giant head. Yes. Like I took a little version of my body and like a big version of my head.
I was crying when I saw it. It's so good.
And I was like, when I got like, because I honestly, when I make a thumbnail, it's one of those things I enjoy just sitting there and tweaking it 1,000 times. I probably have 15 different versions of that thumbnail, but when I got done with that thumbnail, I'm like, that's it.
Boom.
That's the one.
Forget it.
And every time that I have a really good feeling about a thumbnail, like, wow, that was a really good thumbnail, that's the video that always does really well.
That's
so
good.
I have a feeling this one is going to do really well because I actually have the audio of the guy when I busted him when he lied to me.
I can't wait to watch this thing. It's going to be awesome.
I'm actually going to play the audio because his mic was hot.
Yeah.
Ooh.
No, right? So scandalous.
I love it.
So scandalous.
Yeah.
He wouldn't allow me to film, but his mic was still on. So I have it all recorded.
So go subscribe. That way you can be updated when
I
she
did.
Yeah, and it comes out in 2 weeks. So go subscribe because you're not going to want to miss that.
I dropped the link in the comments.
So let me ask, because there's another hang up with a lot of this, right? That a lot of people have, and you mentioned it, Brian. Just when it's on your calendar,
right?
Shooting the video is one hurdle, then editing is the next hurdle.
I think it's got to be right because we used to have this thing like 5 years ago. Do you guys remember this? Where like it's a bold law. If it's not on my calendar, it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Everybody's gotten so used to using digital calendars now that like we're just like, fuck off.
It should be if it's on my calendar, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy to blow stuff up on your calendar now. It didn't used to be that way. I don't for the most part, but stuff I don't want to do, my calendar does not always hold me to it.
Right. But regardless of that, because I live and die by my calendar still, it's the editing part that I will have videos sitting there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God. So did you do all your own editing and self-taught, or did you outsource that?
Totally learned it. Just I went to the school of YouTube to edit. I had no idea how to do any of it. I opened up iMovie and I was like, so how do they make that? How do they string that together? How does that clip together? I didn't understand how you did it. and I saw that you had iMovie. Believe it or not, it's on your cell phone. I tried to do it on my cell phone. My over 40 eyes can't do this. I need to see it on the laptop. And so I started like just picking it up over time. Now I use Final Cut Pro. I enjoy editing, but it is time consuming. If you see how many, I mean, there's animations that come in. I have words that come over here. I have things that are over here. I'm always adding to it because I can't stop. I like to add the splash to it as much as possible. But hire an editor. If you have no interest in learning any of that, and if that is the thing that's holding you back, hire an editor. There's a million of them on Fiverr. Just make sure you send them those clips in order. Make sure that they know how to add some graphics to it and make it as interesting as possible. Like, you don't have to be as fancy as my videos are. If you look at Javier Venata, who's a friend of mine,
friend of the show,
he sits at his desk. He sits at his desk and he just gives really good information. He'll have some animations at the bottom. He has a pretty decent camera setup, but I know people that shoot with their cell phone and do a fantastic job. I have a friend of mine who's almost at 100,000 subscribers and shoots everything with his cell phone and a lav mic.
Dude, I will tell you, cell phone technology, you get I got the 11 Pro Max now. This shit's better than almost anything I've ever spent money on, man.
I use that for all of my listing videos. I have always used my cell phone to record listing videos, and people never know.
Yeah.
They would never, whenever I start going into a person's house, they're like, "You're going to use your phone?" I'm like, "Wait until you see it's done."
Yeah,
they're like, "I would never believe that."
Do you
never.
think, and I agree with you, if you want to get highly leveraged out of this stuff, then just hire somebody to edit it. It's pretty cheap. But I would say for the people that never even tried it, and that's their hang up, did you find, like I did, when you went to the school of YouTube for editing, that this stuff seems so much easier than you thought it was going to be?
Some things I thought were going to be really, really difficult. When I figured it out, I was like, oh my gosh, that literally all I had to do was hit, Command Shift G, and then that was it. I like, every time I do a video, I try to learn something I didn't know before, and I like to see how things are done. I don't try to get real fancy. I know there was like a trend, like, oh, I'm going to teleport myself to my listing. I'm like, okay, that's great. Who cares about that when you're talking about your 10 tips of buying a house?
People that are watching
it wasn't something
your
I
video
needed to learn how to
don't know
do.
what you did
but I
to
do
edit
like
it.
to add something that adds some visual flair, so that way they stay. Because my audience retention, I try to get it above 50%, and my videos are like 14 minutes long. So if I can keep that at 15% or over 50%. For a 14-minute video, man, I feel like I won the lottery.
Describe what
that's
you
great.
mean by audience retention. How long do they have to watch to be considered a retained audience?
On Facebook, it's 3 seconds.
3 seconds, right?
And they don't even have to have the sound on, and they could just be like this and scroll. So then it's considered a view. On YouTube, it's 30 seconds.
Yeah, which if you get 30 seconds into a YouTube video, you should already know. And that's the reason I asked, because that's actually good actionable advice. You want to know what the limits are for audience retention, because YouTube does analytics on that. So does Facebook. Facebook's for more short form video. YouTube obviously a little bit longer. You want to make the first 30 seconds of your video really pop, because that's where people are making their decisions.
Want to change that. If you ever watch the first 30 seconds of most of my videos, I'm changing directions with my sometimes I'm laying on the ground, then I'm the next sentence of sitting up right here. I'm talking really fast. I have lots of visuals going in because I want to keep them there as much as possible.
Yeah.
That's the hook of your video. You want to keep them there. I do not, and this is another YouTube advice that is just trash. Don't waste money on buying intros. The people that are watching on YouTube, they don't care about your intro. They don't care how fancy it is. They don't care how much money you spent on it. If it is don't just get rid of it. Just get rid of the intro. Nobody cares about your intro.
Or if you are, get
right
like a
reason why they're
$4 one
there.
from Motion Den. It's super simple, right? Don't spend an exorbitant amount of time or money on anything like that.
People were like, oh, look at my intro. I'm like, it's 25 seconds long. No one's going to stick around for that.
Too long.
And the biggest mistake I see that real estate agents do when they're doing their YouTube channel is that they'll be like, hi, my name is Joe Brown. I'm with such and such real estate office. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 tips of buying a house in Colorado. Then they run their 20-second intro. Then they go back to it and they're like, I'm so glad that you're going to be here. Today we're going to be talking about the 10 tips of buying a house in Colorado. Before we do that, I want to make sure that you hit the subscribe button, because I put out a video every single week. Now, you've talked for 45 seconds and gave the viewer absolutely nothing. Shut up, Nobody cares who you are. They're there for the reason that they saw that thumbnail and their title in that title. Give them what they want at the get-go. Yep. They will figure out who you are if you give them what they want, because they don't care at this point. Yep. Ask them to subscribe at the end. Don't waste so much time telling them to subscribe and, make sure they see your website and, I have a free PDF and it's a bait and switch so you can get their email address. Stop doing all that and just give the viewer what they want.
Sounds like you've been down this rabbit hole before.
Been done it all. Yeah, because I did the PDF and I had a sales funnel that would say, you can get my free list on how to get these closing, how the best way to close, and people would have to put in their email to get the freaking PDF, which is a hose. Nobody the people don't like that. They hate that. They get mad.
And that was going to be one of my questions in terms of the two ways to do YouTube, the side hustle way that you monetize, and then the second way is to generate leads. If you're doing it to generate leads, you've talked about you go, more hyper local, but in order to generate those leads, are you driving? What's the call to action, right? I mean, that's another thing. We're so because we've been so trained, we have to sell. You give people information that they want to hear about in a way that they want to hear about it, they will find you. I had somebody find me on TikTok. I have 3 TikToks on there. Sure. 3. Because they wanted to talk to me about something and they couldn't find me on Facebook, but they found me on TikTok. If you deliver on the promise in the video of the thumbnail and the title, they will connect with you. You don't have to make sure you email me or, here's my phone number and you can call me anytime. Don't look desperate. Have them come to you. It's going to be better for you and it's going to be better for them. I don't put any specific call to action. My call to action is, hey, you like this video? You may want to watch this one right here. And then I try to keep them on my content as much as possible, because they end up liking you. They end up oh, wow, I really liked her. Oh my gosh, she's right in my area. I'm going to call her up. And I have people that call me and they're like, I saw all your videos. I feel like I know you. And then they meet me and they're like, you're exactly the same. I'm like, told you so. I can't fake that.
I appreciate Nick being brave enough to ask that question about call to action, because I was pretty sure where your answer was going to go before he even asked it.
Look, I knew it, but
I do think there's 2 things in there that are really, really great. One, we learned this in the restaurant industry when I was at Houston. Stop announcing your move all the time, right? Stop telling people, somebody just asked you for a glass of water. You don't need to tell them, okay, I'll be right back with your glass of water. I asked you for it. Go get my fucking glass of water, right? The reality is it's the same thing with YouTube videos. People are there because you made an engaging thumbnail. They read your title. They're already here. So why are you taking 45 seconds at the very beginning starting to tell people what you're about to tell them, first off? And then second off, stop making it so much about selling and just make it about what they came to see. Yep. And ultimately, they'll appreciate you for that. They'll come back over and over again. They'll watch more videos. Eventually, they'll comment. And then you'll have an opportunity to engage with them on their own time instead of Nick tries to do to people, just bait and switch them to get their email address so he can put you in 7 different CRMs in 18 months, right? However that works out.
That's just obnoxious.
But you're never leaving my system.
Never leave the system.
It's so true though. We do that. I don't know if it's just a personality type thing, but I'm like that just in life, right? When somebody calls, let's just say one of our agents calls me with an issue, that's kind of a lot of my job is just kind of working and guiding a lot of our agents through different things. And an agent will call me and be like, hey, I have a question. I'm like, you already wasted 8 seconds of my time by telling me you had a question. I know you have a question. That's why you called me.
Or is now a good time to talk? Well, I answered the phone, man.
I said that to a guy, though, and he lost his mind. I was circle prospecting 2 years ago, and this guy, and I never said this before, I was thinking of you, and he was like, I was like, hey, something, whatever, I got a listing coming on, whatever I said. He was like, well, I can't really talk right now. And then I said, well, then why did you pick up the phone? Uh-oh. And his brain exploded out of his left ear, and then every vulgarity he'd ever come across in his life came out of his mouth, and we have not remained close.
But you've tried. You kept calling.
Yeah, I called him.
I thought you were going to say I thought you were going to say, he was the best man at my wedding. Exactly. I thought you were going to say something like that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah.
No, that guy still hates Brian.
Nope, just another one of the guys on my shit list. No.
What do you have? I mean, we still have a few minutes left, so we don't need to
rush
through it.
I want to say one more thing.
But I do. I want to get to some of your hot topics on this.
Okay. One thing I do want to mention is that a lot of real estate agents have a hard time pulling themselves out of it because they're so used to trying to sell themselves. So if they stop making it about them, matter of fact, you're just kind of like almost like a side figure, and you make the actual content itself that you're talking about the feature instead of yourself, you're going to be 10 times better off than trying to sell yourself. Sure. Stop doing that. Unless you're like if your YouTube channel is about real estate agents, then you can do that to death, because that's what people do. We're used to that. But the outside people they really just do not care about you. So if the thumbnail does not require your face on it, and it's about a specific house, take your face off.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. I know that like all these branding coaches are like, but your face is your brand, so it needs to be on everything. No, it doesn't. It really officially doesn't. And you want people to click on it. So make it more about the title and the thumbnail that matches that title, like a newspaper. That's what Malcolm Lawson always says. He says, if you look at a newspaper, the title of that's the headline.
Right.
So your title should be your headline. And that picture that makes you grab that rag magazine, but while you're checking out your groceries, that's your thumbnail. Always think of your videos like that.
Well, it wouldn't make any sense, right, if the newspaper was like that. If you like showed like the news story was like a big fire burns down a house, and then like your photo was like of the fire chief, it wouldn't make any sense, right? Yeah. You'd want to see the house that was burning, like it, you know what? But we don't think about that in terms of YouTube. But it's such a good point.
Yeah, and I see all the like they'll have the same like stock photo where they're doing the same thing where they're going
exactly.
Stop! Like every single one is like. Stop it! What does that relate to? And it was just like, that they did it last minute. They had they weren't even connecting the two things together at all.
They're just that don't come up with the
they heard it from some coach or somebody in the branding field and said, they spent $300 on this course, so they're going to follow what these people said, and it's like that's not working.
Right
Stop
before
it.
they made that thumbnail, they're like, "This is going to murder."
Yeah, I've seen it like so many times. They're probably like, "Oh, this is the way to do it." I mean, all these other real estate agents are doing it, so
I will say this is one of those slight side things too that I think is useless. The picture on the sign too, the real estate agent picture on the sign in the front yard. I feel like this is kind of.
I took them off. I hate business
no
cards with our faces on. I think business cards with our faces on are the dumbest thing ever. Like, we're the only business that does that.
I know. I can't stand it.
It is very strange.
Now I see Nick over here just like whatever because he has a car wrapped with his head on it.
Well, yeah.
But again,
it's not even really his head anymore. It's him from like a decade ago. It's not even the same guy.
I know.
It doesn't look. Can you imagine if that was the scene from American Psycho when they were comparing business cards? I feel like neither of you have seen this movie now, and this joke isn't going to make sense. Christina has, and it would be hilarious.
I'm getting new business cards, and I'm not putting my face on it any longer. I just think that's dumb. And I didn't want to do it when I first got into the business, but my broker insisted. That was a rule. Yeah. Like, I had to have my face on. I'm like, why? This is dumb.
Yeah.
Lawyers don't do it. Doctors don't do it.
Yeah,
accountants don't do it. Why do we do it?
Brian has one with his dog.
You can hold it up to the camera.
Yeah,
hold on, let me get you over here.
There you go.
It's got my dog on it. Do not turn that around and give people my personal cell phone number. I'll be so upset if you do that. Put it down.
And if anybody ever wants to call me, that's all in the description of my YouTube videos. I get phone calls all day from real estate agents all the time.
Man,
but I have a group. I have a group. Anybody wants to join my YouTube real estate group, they're more welcome to. It's YouTube. We keep changing the name. It's it used to be Legion. So I think it's Real Estate YouTube Mastermind.
That's what I think. That's Real Estate YouTube Mastermind right now.
I posted the link up a few comments ago, along with the link to your YouTube page. So if you're listening to this, first off, go and subscribe to Christina's personal YouTube page, and then go grab the group because a lot of this stuff we're talking about, and again, the magic of social media put Christina in my world just through random friend requests. And very candidly, I don't even know.
We ended up having the same friends.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm like, how are we always talking to one another? I don't know who this guy is, but whatever.
But again, through me sharing my crap, I see you watch the show most weeks. You always usually engage with us and stuff, right? So like that's how all of this works, guys. There's no secret sauce to any of this. It's continuing networking. It's continuing learning stuff from other people. I've easily got 3 things that'll immediately make my video content better, like without even like diving deep into anything, just some 100%. Structural stuff.
Look, I'm still trying to recover from Javier's when he roasted me
He did get you good.
Personally broke down my YouTube page.
That was pretty good.
So, and I'm still.
But you know what's so funny? I got him back because he and I I tried to get him to help me and he wouldn't help me, and then I actually beat him in subscribers. So then he called me, and he was like, "So what would you tell me?" I'm like, "All right, well, quit with the spaghetti against the wall method and start actually having some structure to your YouTube channel." He's like, "Oh."
Yeah.
And now he's like, "Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh my gosh, look at it. This is really happening." I'm like, "Yeah, wait, he's gonna kill it. He's gonna actually do better than me next year at this time. He's gonna have quadruple the amount of subscribers."
Oh, he's
I
out
have.
of his mind. He's got so many subscribers now, dude. His stuff is taken off.
Yeah,
It's been awesome.
I mean, there are.
We're actually the same amount. Just FYI, I'm a little bit more than him.
You are just for your information.
And we've had the opportunity to have him on the show and seen his subscribers grow in that amount of time. But even just knowing you or any YouTuber, maybe that's what it is. Every time we have some YouTuber on, they blow up a little bit more. So maybe it's us, actually.
Stakes in
Yeah.
these YouTube channels we're promoting now. What is this all about? People blowing up after they come on our show. Chasten's the same way, bro.
I think don't you reach some exponential
I was at
point,
3,200 subscribers in October of 2019.
Well, you're going to be at 300,000 tomorrow.
That's what I'm
And
saying,
it's gonna
dude.
be 'cause
I'm
of this
telling
show.
you, and again, if you guys want to know, and if you guys want to see the power, because anybody who's sitting here like, well, Kristina got in early and she's had a page up for a little bit, whatever. There's that number, which I didn't even know. But secondarily, go look at the straight proportions when you do good content. Yes, she has 45,000 subscribers. She also has a video that has 1.8 million views because she did the right topic. She did it correctly, right? Like that would be the same as me getting like 5,000 views on a freaking video right now, like proportionally, right? Like, so
5,000 is still good.
Oh,
like,
and I would take that all day long
for 5,000 views on a video.
Yeah.
Brian and I have a video with not even 3,000 that we've got probably 3 opportunities from, right?
Yep.
And so I think that's what people need to take away from this more than anything is A, when done correctly and strategically, it's not impossible to grow, and B, it doesn't need to be big for it to be fruitful.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Jeremy Knight, look at his YouTube channel. Jeremy Knight, he started listening to me, got a lot more structured. He has so many leads coming in from YouTube. Like every day, he's like, I don't even know how I can handle it all. He's like, I need more people to come work under me. Now, this was a guy that was struggling getting leads to a guy that has so many he doesn't know what to do with now.
Yeah.
And that was less than 9 months.
That's
for me
awesome.
helping him.
Yeah. There are very few lead generation strategies that will pick up in that short amount of time.
Yeah.
And give you really consistent lead flow. So that's awesome.
And look, it's
forever.
And it
that's
builds on
thing.
itself.
The video lives forever.
yeah.
Our mailers don't build on themselves typically, right? Like
cold calling expireds.
does not build on itself.
It doesn't keep going.
No.
Last year's cold call is not still paying today.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. 100%.
Right.
Well, boys and girls, this has been, I feel like
I mean,
The good ones always go fast.
No, these go real fast. I'm going to tell you.
I've taken more mental notes today than in a while.
I'm going to go back and rewatch this one, and I mean, you know, I'm doing it.
Was that my to-do list from today that you're scribbling on the back of? I try to keep those.
It's
I
not
like
a
to see.
to-do list.
It's
This is-
100% my to-do list.
No,
And you're
first off,
scribbling. You ripped a corner out.
multiple.
You ripped a corner of my to-do list out.
I put gum on it.
What a jerk.
Yeah.
What was my to-do list for today?
You guys get serious about YouTube and you really do have like questions about doing it, Malcolm and I in our group answer everybody's questions, and
Yeah.
then people that have been doing this for a while will answer your questions too.
Sure.
Definitely throw your thumbnails in there when you guys start doing those. That's
Yes.
always fun
Yeah, I
to
like
break those
that.
down.
That's a great
and help people.
Yep.
I do
go
too. Brad,
check it out. No, go ahead.
No, I say Brad Stevens, our boy up in Maine. He's a part of the group, and he's been very bold with putting himself out there, and I've enjoyed watching it the past few weeks.
So check out. It's Real Estate YouTube Mastermind currently.
That's what it is. For now.
Subject to change. Real Estate YouTube Mastermind group on Facebook. Check it out, and you'll get a lot more.
I pinned the
insight
comment.
and stuff from Kristina. Man, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. This has been a lot of really actionable advice. And keep doing what you're doing, and keep kicking ass, because I think we're all pretty much going to be riding your coattails.
Look,
now.
right
We'll take
after
all
this,
yeah, 100%.
in a couple weeks, it's going to be 100,000 subscribers.
I think so.
Yes.
Right after.
I want everybody to do well, so I just want to leave everybody with this. Before you decide to pay for any YouTube guru course, from a real estate agent, talk to me first, because I can tell you who's full of baloney.
There you go.
I love it.
Absolutely. So, look, if you also want to take 10 plus listings every single month and you want to learn the YouTube way, come join Tour Academy. Go over to touracademy.com/take10, TEN. Sign up for that webinar. Watch the webinar. And then sign up for Tour Academy. We're going to have a lot more stuff in here, just like what you're learning today with people like Kristina, Javier, Chauncey. There's a ton of information, ton of gold.
Yep.
There's lots of ways you can build a successful business. touracademy.com/take10 and leave us a review.
Please leave us a review.
No more of that. When you're nice, you just have to be mean and tell them what
That's true.
to do.
You know what? Do whatever you want.
But
as long as it's leave us a review.
Leave us a review. On that note, Matthew.
Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm glad we got to have you on the show.
Thank you, fellas, for having me. I enjoy talking about this kind
Absolutely.
of stuff. I love me some YouTube. I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Brian, take us out.
Hey, thank you for watching. We truly appreciate it, checking out another episode of the Only Real Estate Podcast worth listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, please go ahead, hit that share button, hit that like button, and hit the subscribe button. Right? We're dropping more stuff on YouTube constantly. If you're on iTunes, leave us a review, please. We're really, really focused on building up those reviews so we can get more searchable content on there. And if you're on Facebook, like everyone else is, go over and search the only real estate group worth being a part of. You're going to want to go join that group. I'm telling you right now, there's so much gold in there. So go join, share us on YouTube, and leave us that iTunes review, please. Go do it right now. We'll see you on the next show.